Bill, from your perspective at Atelier in particular, these kind of challenges, how are you addressing some of these? And then Don, I definitely want to come on and ask you the same question then in the context of some of the solutions, the technology solutions. But Bill, first of all, some of these challenges and maybe a couple of 2 or 3 points on how you're addressing some of them.
Yeah. One of the things that's very conscious to us, and in just about every RFP we get today from our customers, all of our customers now are really focused on ESG, and that is because of legislation that is happening in different parts of the world. So from a foundation, our customer relationships are starting with environmental sustainability goals in place. As I mentioned before, choosing our cloud provider to build our cloud native media supply chain platform on was a very conscious decision, of choosing a provider that had a commitment to 100% sustainability and gave us all of the tools we need to be able to build, but also to report and to measure and quantify our progress with our customers in achieving their sustainability goals. The platform itself is 3.5 times more sustainable in terms of energy efficiency than the medium of US entertainment-focused enterprise data systems or data centers. And that's an important measurement for us, that we can really achieve, over 300% efficiency there when replacing, what has traditionally been heavy infrastructure in facilities where they have lots of always-on technology running constantly, requiring all of the AC, all of the physical, infrastructure and people and buildings that go around it. It gets very inefficient very quickly, and what we're trying to do is to replace all of that. We're not just freeing up, energy usage. We're also making the companies themselves more efficient, because being able to use a cloud-based compute environment frees up a lot of capital for people to be able to invest differently. They can invest it actually in the creation of more content and more product, which brings them more revenue as opposed to tying it up in physical capital. The other sorts of things that we're really thinking about as well is how we actually save that data for our customers. They need to have it, available to their customers. There's more and more content, and we're looking at what an explosion in demand for content with all of the different streaming services, and people are expecting, content to be available, and so a huge choice of content at any moment on their, any device, anywhere on any screen. And the challenge there is bandwidth. And bandwidth is, again, something, being able to provide all that bandwidth is a big drain on energy. So we need to think about how do we get that content to consumers in very, very efficient ways. And so part of that is choosing the right, technologies, the compression technologies, the codecs that go into being able to compress and transport that content at the highest level of quality, but in the most efficient way. And then we've developed technologies to be able to store that data. When you look at an individual movie studio, they will have petabytes of content, tens of petabytes of content stored on their servers. That's very expensive, but it's also very inefficient if you think about it in energy terms. So what we've done is we've developed proprietary technologies. A typical, TV show that would be produced, say, for Netflix, is going to have a minimum of about 26 different versions. So hours of content that's being saved that's essentially the same across every version, except for maybe a different dialogue track and different opening and closing credits and a few scenes in between. What we've developed is proprietary technology that automatically goes through all of those versions, and we can identify using our proprietary AI all of the pieces that are different. And what we do is we save one common version and then only the differences for all of the others. And this allows us to reduce the storage footprint for content by 70 to 90%, which, you know, across a library of petabytes of content is a huge amount of data being stored, saved, which, you know, equates to a lot of energy being saved, but it also equates to significant savings for our companies. And for them, that means more investment in content that can be on the stream, and that means more revenue. So being able to think about, you know, energy usage and consumption from sort of a holistic point of view, I think is really important. It's not just a lever to save energy. It's really a lever that not only saves the planet, but it helps save money, and it makes companies more efficient in the long run.
Bill, that it's fascinating, and I absolutely, Don, want to bring you in at this point. So we go from, you know, a very sort of content, very virtual heavy environment to what you're doing at Laundress and in terms of inventory. Tell us a little bit more about the challenges that you're facing and also some of the solutions that you're developing.
Yeah, I'd just like to get into, first of all, say this is a great panel to be a part of. A lot of great different insights and perspectives here. You know, Laundress is a venture-backed startup, and I call us precision technology pioneers, which is a combination of artificial intelligence and IoT. We consider ourselves to be the third generation of enterprise software that brings those two together to intersect. So when you think of that, it's basically essentially the physical to digital transformational platform that pairs the sensor technology with the data that you can gather from connected things. We are focused on inventory and asset management, tracking things in and out, all the way through autonomous reordering through the supply chain. But like when you look at all of these combinations of things and being able to provide, you know, the insights in real time, this is where, you know, we feel like we can really be impactful, not only for retail, but through our enterprise customers, such as, you know, hotels and healthcare. We're providing them with insights that they've never seen before. And I think the small piece of this is just the value that we provide through sustainability and the data that you can collect through these connected things. I think we all agree that, you know, climate change is real, but like when you can focus on that data and you can see movement in areas that you've never seen before, you know, that's where, for us, that's a real game changer. We started out, and I'd just like to share this simple fact, with focusing on tracking textiles for hotels, something that is so mundane, but you would never have guessed that it's the second largest expense for a hotel after labor. And so being able to gather those digital transformational insights to understand how long an item lasts and the life cycle management associated with that has a direct impact on sustainability. Because from there, you can really narrow the focus and start to really understand how much electricity is being used, how much water is being used, optimizing the labor resources, optimizing, you know, the supply resources, and ultimately streamlining supply chain to provide that additional value. And so, you know, in summary, I'd just like to say that what I'm seeing as far as the industry is, you know, there is a heavy emphasis around us as leaders as far as the change management process is concerned. It is not only, you know, a top-down approach, it's a bottom-up approach. Being able to gather, you know, those kind of data and metrics and KPIs that you could see on the front line that could transform into the boardrooms. And that's where I think, you know, having that access to the data, like Linda mentioned, and Siva and Bill, being able to aggregate all of that data, being able to use artificial intelligence and being able to use tools like whether it's an AWS or Microsoft Azure can really be a difference maker for the longer term journey. So I think this is where, you know, directly all of us as leaders, you know, impact not only our companies, but the communities that we're a part of, and just excited that I was part of this panel today.
Dan, thank you so much. And I just want to pick up on what you've said and come back maybe. I think, Linda, did you have any other sort of technology driven or any other sort of solutions that you were looking at?
Sure. I think the piece that we always sometimes forget, it's also about the people, right? So we're really big on diversity, inclusion, and belonging initiatives, and to the point where we continue to hit it out of the park on employee engagement scores, but also as we look at what we're doing in the communities and even our board, right? So we had hardly any women. Now we have 30%. We set targets, we go so that we do have diversity, whether it's based on race or gender, and we're starting to report that on our ESG reports as well. From a computers point of view, we've joined forces with Computers for Success. We've done a CEO pledge, pledging 11,000 end of cycle devices. It's about $1.25 million benefit to the students who don't have computers. So we'll get them refurbished so that they now have refurbished devices to be able to do homework because they just weren't able to have access to it. And really just in that whole spirit of how do we continue to recycle even some of our old tech phones, where we've partnered with life cycle partners to just recycle it so we don't fill the landfills up.